Hi everyone, welcome back to Old Guy Firewood. My name is Dick, and if this is your first time here, I appreciate you stopping by. If you're coming back, I appreciate you coming back. If you like this sort of thing, videos about cutting firewood and cutting trees and tractors and chainsaws and all things related, then please go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and take a look at some of the videos I've already got out there and be on board for new ones as they come out. But in a couple of my videos, I had situations where I needed to throw a rope up in a tree to help pull it over because it was not leaning in the right direction. And what I did was I shot a throw bag, and this is a throw bag and a throw string, got this up in the tree over a limb or in a crotch, used this smaller string then to pull up a heavy rope which we could attach to the tree and then help pull it in the direction that we wanted to. And to get it up there, rather than throwing it by hand, a few years ago I built this air cannon, and it works really great. Basically the throw bag just loads down here in the barrel, charge the air chamber with air, aim it, pull the trigger, and it'll shoot it up there. And I've shot the throw bag up probably 80 or 90 feet. It does a really great job and almost always hit my target the first time. So a lot of people indicated they'd like to see how that throw cannon is built, and so today that's what our video is about. I'm going to show you how I built the throw cannon and the throw bag cannon, and I hope you enjoy it. And I would add that if you want to build one of these yourself, do it at your own risk. They're dangerous. You have to be careful. It's just like a firearm. It'll shoot that projectile out of there pretty quick. You could hurt somebody, and anything you do, I'm not an expert at it, but do it at your own risk. And as long as you understand that, let's go ahead and see how it's built. Okay, I've assembled all the components here that you need to build this. The main body of the air cannon is 1.5" Schedule 40 PVC, and that's rated for, I believe, well over 300. Yeah, 330 psi, and I never put any more than about 80 pounds pressure in this. You have a 38-inch piece here, which is the barrel section, and then a 26-inch piece here, which is the air chamber. And in addition to that, you have an end cap, which goes on the end of the air chamber, and then you have an 1.5" coupling, an 1.5" reducer, which reduces it from 1.5" down to 1 inch. Then I've just got some 1-inch steel pipe that goes here, a sprinkler valve goes in there, another piece of steel pipe over here, another reducer, another coupler, and then your barrel. And that's basically the components. In addition, you need a 1/4 inch nipple, an air gauge, simple air blowgun, a Schrader valve, and then I've got some pipe compound thread sealant that I use. I prefer that. You can use Teflon tape, but I prefer the pipe sealant, and then I use a single step cement for PVC to put everything together. So let me set you up on a tripod here, and we'll kind of go through what's involved in the build. I failed to mention you'll also need some epoxy. I use JB Weld steel epoxy. You can use any kind of regular epoxy, but I'll show you where we're going to need that in a minute. The first thing we're going to do is take a look at this sprinkler valve, and this is just an Orbit 1-inch inline sprinkler valve, and 1 inch is what you want because the 1 inch will release the air much quicker than 3/4 inch, which is the other common size of sprinkler valve. But we're going to take this Orbit sprinkler valve and we're going to make our trigger mechanism out of this. So what you want to do is take this solenoid off. We're not going to need that. You can throw that away, and we're going to take this top off. Now this particular valve only has 4 screws on the top. The one that I have on my original gun has several. It's a Rainbird model. but it really doesn't matter which one you use. I think this Orbits will work equally well. You have to be careful when you take this top off because there is a spring under here, and you want to make sure it doesn't go flying. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take this off. Make sure these screws are backed out far enough. As I say, be careful when you pop this off that you don't lose the spring inside here. Oh, like I just did. But anyway, there's the diaphragm and the spring, and you really don't need to do anything with that. Everything, all the modifications that we're going to do are to the top part, and basically there's a couple holes in here that we need to fill with epoxy, and then in the center here we're going to drill a 1/2-inch hole, and this 1/4-inch nipple is going to be screwed into that 1/2-inch hole, and then our air blowgun, which becomes the trigger mechanism, is screwed onto that. So let's go ahead and get our hole drilled here, and then we can go ahead and put the epoxy in, and we can set that aside, and it really needs to sit overnight to get hardened real well. Now you want this hole to be pretty much in the center of this area, so get it lined up, and what I'm going to do is drill a pilot hole to begin, and then we'll drill our 1/2-inch hole. I guess it would help if I plugged in the drill press. Okay, we've got our 1/2-inch hole through there now, and we should be able to go ahead and put that nipple in there. Okay, now I'm going to mix up a little bit of this JB Weld epoxy, 2-part, equal parts. That's the hardener, and this is the steel. Mix that up real good. This JB Weld is some tough stuff. You can do a lot of repairs with it, and it does harden just like steel. All right, now I'm going to put some in here to cover these holes up. I'm actually going to put some of that JB Weld on the threads of this nipple and then screw it in here. Now you can actually take a tap and die set and tap this if you want to, but the plastic is fairly soft, and the threads of the nipple will actually tap itself. Okay, now we're going to set that aside and let it dry, and we'll get on with the barrel and the air chamber and how that goes together. Okay, now we're going to start with the air chamber assembly. This is the shorter of the 2 pieces of PVC pipe. Put a coating of this solvent around the end of the pipe. Put some inside the coupling. Go ahead and press that together with a 1/4 turn, and we'll hold it there for a minute. But what we want to do now is go ahead and mount our pressure gauge our air pressure gauge. And I like to mount it through this coupling because you're actually going through the coupling and the wall of the pipe, so it gives you a much thicker amount of material to mount it in, makes it sturdier. And we'll also be putting in the Schrader valve. The Schrader valve in here, which will be used to put the air into the air chamber. Now, to do that, we're going to have to drill 2 holes. One for the gauge, and 90 degrees from that, one for the Schrader valve. So let me see what size drill we need, and we'll go from there. All right, after checking that out, I have determined that a 3/8 bit will work fine for the gauge, and a 1/2 inch bit is perfect for the rubber washer that, on the Schrader valve. So let me go ahead and drill those out. All right, got those 2 holes drilled out. All right, let's see if we can get this Schrader valve in first. Okay, got the rubber washer on the inside, and this metal ring goes on out here. Then a nut. Tighten that up. Now, a lot of people like to use Teflon tape on these, and that works fine too, but I don't know. This pipe dope is rated for PVC and metal pipe, and I don't know, I've always just had a little bit better luck with things sealing. Okay, now we've got our pressure gauge. Got our Schrader valve here, but we'll put this aside. That's done except for the gluing of the PVC, and we'll go ahead and start working on the barrel. Put a coupling and the reducer. Those two need to be glued in. Get this coupling first. Push it on there, give it a quarter turn, seat it all the way, hold it for a second. Put some cement inside the coupling. Cement on the reducer. Slide it in there and give it a quarter of a turn and set. Okay, go ahead and wipe the excess off there. All right, and put that aside. Okay, I think that'll do it until tomorrow. We're going to let everything dry up good and let that JB weld dry in the valve. We'll go ahead and put the valve together in the morning, hook everything up, and we should be good to go. Well, folks, it's the next morning, and unfortunately, the video didn't have any audio when I went to edit it. But here we're putting the valve back together, screwing the top down, and the valve is pretty much ready to go. Next thing we're going to do is take this 2-inch long, 1-inch diameter steel nipple and put some pipe compound on it, screw it into the coupling on the barrel, and then screw it into the sprinkler valve trigger mechanism. and being careful, of course, to look at the arrows on the sprinkler valve, because you want the airflow to be coming from the air chamber through the valve and then out through the barrel of the gun. Okay, we're finished with the front barrel assembly. It's attached to the valve. Now we have to attach the air chamber to the other end of the valve, and we'll be pretty much finished. At this point, we're going to take the remaining 1-inch steel nipple and the remaining reducer and put some pipe dope on there and connect the reducer and the pipe, and then connect that assembly to the valve. And at that point, we'll be ready to glue the air chamber on. Okay, now we're getting ready to glue the air chamber onto the reducer, which is connected to the valve. And at this point, our gun will be fully assembled, and we just need to put the trigger mechanism on the valve so that it will shoot. I try to line this up, and that's why I wait to glue this last. I try to line the Schrader valve up on the top of the gun and actually use it almost as a sight. What we're doing now is taking our blowgun trigger assembly and attaching it to the 1/4-inch nipple that we've mounted into the bottom of the irrigation valve. And this will become the trigger mechanism for firing the gun. Last thing we have to do is glue the end cap on the back end of the air chamber, and once we get that on, the build is pretty much complete. Okay, we'll let that PVC cement dry and come back in a couple hours and try it out. All right, folks, we've let everything dry. Our air cannon build is completed. We've got the barrel, the trigger assembly, pressure gauge, Schrader valve to fill the air chamber. And I did pressurize it, test for leaks, and nothing's leaking, so it's ready to go. And let's go ahead and give it a try. I'm going to pressurize it first with this air tank. Take it up to about 80 pounds. And we've got our throw bag here, and all we have to do is put it ringside down. I'll work it into the barrel, and I've got a piece of PVC conduit here. I'm going to go ahead and bottom it out. Okay, we're ready to try to get it up in this tray. Let me rearrange the camera a little bit so you can see better. Okay, now what we're going to try to be aiming for is this crotch right up here. Right there in that hickory tree. So, here we go. Well, folks, I'd say our air cannon build was a success. We put that throw bag right up over that branch and that crotch like I wanted to. And I'm not going to cut that tree down, but if I was going to cut it down, I'd just let the throw bag down to the ground, attach a heavier rope, pull it up in the tree and make a running bow line, having both ends of the rope, pull it up, cinch it up, and then we could pull it in whatever direction we wanted to. But at any rate, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you do make one of these again, do so at your own risk. Be careful and obey all safety rules. Don't point it at anyone. At any rate, if you like this sort of thing, please subscribe to my channel. Like this video, share it with your friends, and as I always say, most important thing until the next one is to keep moving, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you.